Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again for another Ultimate Creative Chat. Today, we have Tamara Lance with Tamara, Denise, and Company. And her services are actually business concierge services. So, if any of you are at the point where you've kind of been doing business for a while and you're looking for some assistance, you need a virtual assistant, you need someone to help and do some things around there to keep you straight. Tamara's going to tell us how she can keep us straight.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so as she's mentioned, my name is Tamara. I do run a virtual assistance kind of operations management firm, and here I primarily focus on business operations, business administrations, and a little digital marketing. And so my goal is really to help female entrepreneurs or business owners just make sure that they have it all without doing it all. I think too
Mm,
often we've been raised to understand that the woman should do all the things, be all the things, just this superwoman role. But I think as times have changed, we are or we can essentially burn ourselves out, and when we burn
yes.
ourselves out, we are no good to anybody, especially ourselves, if we have children, our mates. So I think it's very important when we are people who tend to wear multiple hats, that we learn how to delegate and outsource, so that we don't
Mm-hmm.
pass down to our children like it's okay to be burnt out all the time, but to know that
Mm,
it really is okay to ask people for help, even if
yes.
it's, hey, can you just help me unload the car? There's no reason we should be trying to break our fingers trying to carry 100 bags in the house. So,
Mm-mm.
we don't have to make multiple trips. And, we're all guilty of it. So,
Yes.
I'm just really trying to provide a service to let people know, like, hey, you're not in this by yourself.
Okay. You said a mouthful. We can just cut this off here. Bye. We'll see y'all next time. But that is awesome. But everything you said is right. We do try to do too much sometimes.
hmm
Sometimes, a lot of times, we're trying to do too much and we do need to hire some help. How, what have you experienced that helped you to start this venture?
I would say one of my mentors now, I used to be her intern when I first got into the corporate space. And so it seemed like as I developed and she even developed and had more roles, that I would still be her intern, even if it wasn't directly through that company. And
Mm,
so what happened was she would start sharing me with her friends. And then it got to be to the point where, okay, so everybody needs help. So
yes.
it's like, okay, I can really monetize this. And it's not necessarily about the money, but you also don't want people to feel like, okay, they're taking advantage of me because they know I can do these things. But
Hmm.
realizing that there are other people out here doing the same thing and they are, living a well off life. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I can take my talents and, still provide these services, but say, hey, I see this is an ongoing relationship.
Yeah,
Can we, make this beneficial for the both of us? Um,
exactly. Okay.
yeah.
Well, let
And
me
so
ask you
just seeing
this.
that, let me know that the service was needed.
Yes, I think it's much needed. What service do people tend to need the most? What are you encountering and seeing out there? Even if they don't come to you for that, what are you seeing that people really need to get some help with?
So it's funny that you asked that, because a lot of times when I reach out to people or people reach out to me, they don't know what they need help with. They just know
Mm,
I need help. It's like I'm all over the place. I don't know what's going on. I have these deadlines, but I'm not sure what I've done for each deadline that's coming up. So it's really having a conversation with them, kind of looking at their back end and say, okay, so maybe you need somebody to help you create systems, or maybe you need some
mhm,
workflows, or hey, let's add in some automation. So a lot of times it's really just
mm.
talking to that person and then understanding, like, do they actually know what they need, or do we still need to determine it? Because again, like I said,
Okay.
they half the time they don't know. They just got to the point where they are overwhelmed, and it's like, now
Hmm.
I have to ask for help.
Okay. Wow. So Pete sounds like people are getting burnt out. out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to not be burnt out. So we can
Right.
show up and be who we need to be for our families. We can be healthy.
Exactly.
We can have some mental clarity, and we can actually serve our clients and customers the way they deserve to be served, right?
Right. And that's, one of the things I strive for when I tell people, I help you have it all without doing it all because essentially we want it all. Just let's just be honest. We want the luxurious life. We want everything, but to
Right.
get everything it takes a lot of work. And so knowing that
Hmm.
okay, I can have it all, but I don't necessarily have to do everything on my own. I can delegate it. And then that's when the
Yeah.
hard part comes in because, people do not like to delegate or they've never had to delegate, so they don't know how to really hand those tasks over. So, it's
Mm.
always a work in process.
This Ultimate Creative Chat is sponsored by Dr. Sandra Ingram, Life Coach. Life is pretty good, but your best days are just ahead. Are you constantly arguing with your friends and family? Earning less money than you know you're worth? Don't let your joy be a hostage to disappointment. Talk to Dr. Sandra Ingram, a certified dream building coach who's helped women achieve success in relationships, health, and time and money freedom. It's a career she's enjoyed for over 30 years. Choose individual or group coaching to get on the road to success. Grow your communication skills, confidence, relationships, balance, time management, and professional success. Head to www.dringramlifecoach.com and let Dr. Sandra Ingram breathe life into your dreams. Follow Dr. Sandra Ingram on Facebook. Back to the show.
Oh, yeah. And this really is very telling in regards to our personal lives bleeding over into our business. The
Right.
things that we practice personally in our
Mhm.
everyday lives, just with our families, just at home by ourselves, wherever, tend to translate in business. If you are a bad communicator in real life, in your regular everyday life, you're going to be a bad communicator in business as well. It's going
Mhm.
to show. So this is good information because in our personal lives, a lot of times we will try to do too much
Mhm.
and then it carries over in business. So,
Mhm.
what is one thing that you would say everyone needs to stop trying to do themselves right now?
So, in my personal opinion, I think I think a lot of if you have a family, I would say grocery shopping is something that like if you've never delegated before, that's the first point to say, okay, let me
Mm,
trust somebody to pick my groceries.
mhm.
And that's a lot because, if you don't really know how to, let's talk about Instacart. If you don't really know how to say, click on the box that says do not allow substitutions, or you go through each item and say, if this isn't available, put this. Like being
Right.
clear and concise on what you need is very important. So I think when you
Mhm.
start small like that in your personal life, that can also help lead to your business life or even emails. A lot of times we have all these subscriptions that we tend not to go look at our emails, but not even realizing that that is how a lot of, doctor offices communicate. There's no more, we're
Yes.
not going to always send something through the mail. So you may not check your email on a regular basis because you don't want to see all the subscriptions, but not knowing you're really missing some vital information. So I think those are like
Yeah.
small areas to, maybe start with outsourcing in your personal life because like you said, your personal life does, affect your business life. And for someone like
Mhm.
me, I have 3 kids, I have a 9 to 5, and I have my business. It's very important for me to understand what I can do and what I cannot do.
Yes. Oh, it most certainly is. Let's talk a little bit about how a business owner can actually start working with you. What are the things that they need to be mentally prepared to do when they work with a business concierge or a virtual assistant?
I think it's important to have an open mindset and be prepared to work with someone, if you are not mentally ready to
Mm-hmm.
hand over something, I would say just give yourself a little time. Like just start in small spaces. So maybe a group coaching program to accept, feedback. Because when you hire a
Mm.
virtual assistant and you say, hey, I don't know what I need help with, but maybe let's start with this. Or, hey, I do need help with calendar management or scheduling my social media. But then at the same time, when that person's scheduling it, you come and say, oh, no, don't schedule it like that. Oh, no, do it like this. Well, technically, you haven't really outsourced anything because you keep
No.
dabbing your hands in it. And so,
Okay.
when you're ready to get started, just create that relationship with your VA or with whoever to say, hey, this is my first time, but can you kind of help me with how this process works? I don't think I'm ready, even though I know I need to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
And so your person may be a lot more understanding and can work with you so that you feel more comfortable, because sometimes it's more just a lot of communication, like, hey, I'm gonna schedule these posts today like you asked, was there any more updates that you needed to make? Or, hey,
Right.
before I do this, let's talk about this one more time, just to get a better, just to keep them informed so they still feel like their hands are in it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, what should a virtual assistant be prepared to do for you as a business owner? I'm sure not everyone necessarily offers all the same services,
Mhm.
but what type of professionalism should you expect at least from a virtual assistant or a concierge?
Yes. And like you mentioned, not all of them do the same thing, or not all of us do the same thing specifically. So you have some that are very general. So your emails, your calendar, your appointments, and then you have some are very specific, like, oh, I only focus on funnels, or I only focus on lead creation. So
Okay.
at any magnitude, they should all be very professional and experts in their field. So if they are still, now I won't say, don't work with one if they're still in the early phases, because really you all could work together and grow together. But essentially,
Hmm.
they should have the foundations to get you started. And again, that depends on the type of virtual assistant that you reach out to, whether it's somebody very specific or somebody very general.
Hmm. Okay. Now, I'm just wondering, should you give your assistant an NDA, or would it
Most of
be
us
off-putting to do that?
I will say that really depends on the size of the company that they're working with.
Hmm.
And so I would say for some like solo entrepreneurs, there may not be an NDA. It's just really, hey, I have too much going on. I just really need some help. But then you have like those virtual assistants that get government contracts, or they work with big brand names that everybody knows. Well, when they let you inside your business, you may really see a lot of information. So they don't want you to disclose that information. And you will find yourself most likely signing NDAs. So it really just
Hmm.
depends on the size and the type of work that you will be doing for that person.
Okay. So if you had a publication or something where maybe you're getting information that's not privy to the public just yet, would you think that might be a good fit for an NDA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When it comes to like intellectual property per se, that's something that I would consider intellectual. You definitely need NDAs. But when you're
Hmm.
saying, I just need you to, manage my email, create some folders, things, there's really no need to have an NDA for things like that.
Okay. Very nice. Well, what
Yes.
are some of the things that, as a business owner yourself, you found that you needed help with, that you've been able to overcome? Maybe something that a wall that you hit early on, just as a business owner in general, and you have been able to see, you've made progress in that area or have found a way to get through that.
So for me personally, and this is something that I teach or preach to my clients as well, is, you know, outsource what you don't know how to do or you don't want to do. There are some things that I just
Mm.
know as a business owner I do not want to do. So again, since I have a 9 to 5, and um, it requires, I'm a project manager. So I get emails all
Okay.
day long that I must respond to. So for my
Mm-hmm.
business, I don't want to read emails again. So
Right.
that's something that I know, like, I do not want to do this. This is something I need to outsource. And that VA will say, okay, hey, I went through all your junk emails, but these are ones that I need you to respond and, you know, provide an answer to. So things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And then I will say, for things that you cannot outsource, you need to find systems with automation that can do those things for you. So just create workflows. So, if somebody schedules a discovery call, that it's already on an automated system. So once they schedule that discovery call, that they're going to get an email with a link that
Mm-hmm.
says, this is our intake questionnaire. Can you fill this out? Once they fill that out, then it'll let you know, like, hey, you have this coming up. Is this a good fit? Mark yes or no. If it is, it'll send them another link that says this is the actual booking site that not booking site, but the link that you will have your discovery call on. So just kind of weeding things out and having processes in place to make sure that you are using your time efficiently can really
Mm.
help, you as a business owner and myself included. Like I said, with 3 kids, they play basketball, soccer. It's just some things I cannot do all things, all day long. So I only want to
No.
do like the things they are revenue generating, or, they really have some substance that my hands need to touch.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. We will drive ourselves crazy trying to do everything. And I think we can have it all if we're not trying to put our hands on everything. So
Exactly.
I really like what you're saying.
We'll be right back. Life is pretty good, but your best days are just ahead. Are you constantly arguing with your friends and family? Earning less money than you know you're worth? Don't let your joy be a hostage to disappointment. Talk to Dr. Sandra Ingram, a certified dream building coach who's helped women achieve success in relationships, health, and time and money freedom. It's a career she's enjoyed for over 30 years. Choose individual or group coaching to get on the road to success. Grow your communication skills, confidence, relationships, balance, time management, and professional success. Head to www.dringramlifecoach.com and let Dr. Sandra Ingram breathe life into your dreams. Follow Dr. Sandra Ingram on Facebook. Do you own a growing business? Danielle Rosser's clients get the keys to success when it comes to meeting their bottom line. Reach your intended audience with the proper branding, messaging, and storytelling when you partner with UltimateCreativ.
So, what can UltimateCreativ do for you? Click the link in the description for a consultation and let's get started. Now, for those who don't know, maybe someone is watching now and they've never worked with a virtual assistant before. What is the process that one goes through in order to give access to a virtual assistant to their email account or to their social media accounts? What information would that VA need in order to access that person's accounts?
Okay. And again, I'll look at this at 2 different perspectives. So let's say with a smaller entrepreneur, they may directly give you a password and an email address for you to go in and manage. Whereas if
Okay.
it's a larger organization, or not necessarily larger, but somebody who has been around longer, they may just give you your own personal email link for their. So like it would be, if I hired someone named Karen, it would be Karen at Tamara Denise Co. And she would have access to her own mailbox, but I could add her as a shared person on my account, so I wouldn't have to give her my information directly. So
Mm,
those are that's one small way. And then there are other systems. So you have LastPass, and it allows you to put all of your I guess login information, but it creates a new password every time somebody logs in. So you won't feel like, oh, this person is prying around and they're just going in whenever they want to and trying to, be all in my business. So I think
Right.
there are systems in place to make sure that people have the access they need. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to if you would like to spend additional money, or if you kind of want to take, the newer route and kind of do things a different way, just because it can save more money. But essentially, it's you giving your login information, or you creating that person as a person in your business.
Thank you so much for that information. That's very good for us to keep in mind. Do you have any tools that you want to share with those who may not quite be ready to hire anyone and they want to kind of baby step their way into automation at least?
Yes, for automation, I'm sure everybody has kind of heard of this, but if whatever, so say you use Wix, if Wix is a website builder, so Wix has a lot of built-in tools, whether it be for automations, creating leads. It's really like developed as a tool. It's really almost an
Hmm.
all-in-one at this time. But if you have like a Dubsado in there, maybe that doesn't directly integrate with Wix, there is a
Hmm.
tool called Zapier or Zapier, however you want to pronounce it, that allows you to connect those two. And so Zapier really is a helpful tool because it allows you to integrate anything together. And it's really
Hmm.
based on triggers and actions. But I think Wix is definitely a great tool to get started with, just because, again, it's all in one. For
Hmm.
like project management, I would recommend ClickUp or Notion. I think Notion has more of a learning curve because it creates a lot more customization, whereas ClickUp is kind of you put in the information and make it work for you.
Hmm.
Um, and then HubSpot. HubSpot has a lot of free tools, whether it be for lead generation, for sales, for marketing. I think that is a very powerful um, system. And then it also has a lot of resources built in within that system that, really can help a lot of people. Now, I will say, if you don't have like a big budget to actually work with a virtual assistant directly in the US, you can go on sites like Fiverr or Upwork, or
Hmm.
there are like some big VA companies that you tell them what they need and they go find it. Those are a little more pricier than Fiverr, but really on Fiverr
Hmm.
you can find people to do jobs for $5 and $10, just depending on what you need. So I will say
Awesome.
those are give you like a lot more general um I guess, feedback. Whereas working with a virtual assistant that you've sought out is a very more
Hmm.
personalized experience.
Okay, that makes sense. You're dealing person to person, so
Mm-hmm.
I would expect a lot more communication and
Right.
more time that they would
Mm-hmm.
take with you to do
Right.
what you need to do or to ask and really
Right.
make sure that they understand what you are needing.
Right. And it's not just, don't get me, there is a flat fee but for like Upwork, you're going to pay your $5, maybe plus a $3 service fee. Whereas if you work with a
Mm,
VA, they may charge for a package or by an hour, but you can customize that to your liking. It doesn't have to be based on something that somebody like, hey, these are my packages. So it really just,
yeah.
with your VA, you have a lot more wiggle room per se.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm enjoying this. But
Yes.
we will have to go in a minute, so I want to give you the opportunity to let us know about anything that you have going on with Tamara, Denise, and company, and also definitely where people can find you on social media and your the URL for your website.
Okay. So I am on Facebook, Instagram, and what's the new one? TikTok. So on Facebook, it's actually Tamara Denise and Co. But on Instagram and TikTok, it is Tam with the assist.
Mm,
And then my website is www.tamaradeniseco.com. And so I have blogs on there, the different offerings that I have, and just all types of information that if you want to connect. But I am accepting clients. And then also on my social media pages, if you just want to learn more about working with a virtual assistant, I do have a free guide that shows the 5 steps to take or the 5 things to consider when you are ready to hire a virtual assistant. So that would be
Hmm.
very helpful for new business owners ready to delegate.
Okay, that sounds very good. Thank you very much for that information and for everything that you shared. Ladies, you all know, to follow, to look and see what other information she has out there. I just want to thank you so much, Tamara, for coming on and
Thank you
being a
so much for
resource for
having me.
us. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being a resource. And hopefully, you ladies have learned some things, and at least we piqued your interest into
Right,
automation and not trying to do it all yourself.
right.
All
Yep. In
right.
2023, we are delegating.
Yes, most definitely. Well, you guys keep it right here on YouTube with Ultimate Creative Chats, and we'll be bringing you more conversations like this in the future. Thank you.
Get in touch today to find out how you can become an Ultimate Creative Chat sponsor.